Hello friends, welcome to StudyIQ. Today we are going to have a very interesting discussion regarding the US political development. Today we are going to understand whether Donald Trump, who will be the president for just 1 week now, from January 20th, Joe Biden presidency will start. So in this video we'll understand Donald Trump, will he be facing any sort of legal jeopardy for the speech that he made which led to the violence in the Capitol Hill. Recently we have seen that after speeches by Donald Trump and other Republicans, we have seen there was a lot of violence in the United States Capitol. And after that, there is a lot of development which has taken place. The Democrats are now vying for Trump's head. Already, there has been a talk of impeachment of Donald Trump for the second time. And now, we are going to talk about some legal issues that Trump is going to face during his presidency, the short presidency that is left, or even after he demits his office. We know that Trump vowed that he's never going to concede, which eventually incited the mob. His supporters, they rampaged on the Capitol Hill and there was a lot of violence. So in this video, we'll try to understand what are the legal hurdles that Donald Trump is going to face. But before that, I am your friend Rahul Saigaonkar. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on the ID Rahul Sai 222. My Facebook, Instagram and Telegram channel ID are same. StudyIQ has got a smart course for you for UPSC 2021. For more information, download the app and don't forget to subscribe to StudyIQ. Right, we all know about the news. It has been flashing on all the television channels for very long now. There were unbelievable scenes in the Capitol Hill in the United States where there was a lot of violence which eventually shocked the world. In fact, there were a lot of discussions about the oldest democracy in the world, United States, who are not able to save their own democracy. Now, what kind of a democracy is United States when there is no peaceful transition even after a free and fair election where Joe Biden has become the presidential elect? The incumbent president Donald Trump is not willing to concede. Now, this puts a question mark over the democracy of United States. In our previous video, if you remember, we discussed, is Donald Trump heading for a second impeachment? We already discussed that the Speaker of House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi, she shared that we have our options open and we might go for impeachment of Donald Trump. In fact, it has gained a lot of traction now. Within just a week, he has to be impeached and then he has to be put on trial in the Senate. So the developments are going to be there. But today, in this video, we are going to talk about the legal jeopardy that Trump faces, not just from the Congress, but in the judiciary of United States. Let's talk about the options that are available. The first thing that is going to happen now is a grand jury. Now, a grand jury is basically a federal jury wherein there would be a number of representatives who would be called basically from citizenry themselves who are going to decide about the indictment of a person who's charged of a crime. Now, here Donald Trump. Now, if the grand jury, they are convinced by the evidence which will be presented by the US Attorney General, if the grand jury determines that there is a probable cause that individual has committed a crime. Here Donald Trump, if he has committed a crime, he should be put on trial. Now remember, there would be no judgment here. It is just an indictment where he would be put to trial and sent to a trial in US courts. And the evidence presented in front of grand jury can be used in the trial also. Remember, the grand jury discussions, deliberations are confidential where they call the witnesses, and if a witness gives a wrong statement in front of grand jury, it will be a perjury. All right. So an indictment is going to happen first if at all some legal action is going to take place. Now, after this indictment, in the trial, what would he be charged on? So if we talk about the laws of the sections under which Donald Trump might be charged, there is one United States Code, section 373, very similar to how we have CPC, the Civil Procedure Code and the Criminal Procedure Code. US has a code. Under section 373, it is clearly written that it is a felony to induce or even to try to persuade someone to engage in a criminal use of physical force against the government property, against any person, right? So it would be punishable by life. It would be punishable of imprisonment up to 20 years. Now, this is one of the sections under which Trump can be charged. There is another Federal Anti-Riot Act under which section 18, clause 2101. It clearly states that whoever aids or abets any person in inciting or participating in carrying some sort of riot, they can be charged under this particular title, and there either they can be fined or imprisoned for 5 years. Now, this is another possibility. Apart from that, in the District of Columbia Criminal Law section 22, clause 1322, it is clearly mentioned that whoever willfully incites or urges other person to commit a riot shall be imprisoned for not more than 180 days. Now, this riot, if it's a simple riot where there is no loss of life, it would be 180 days. And if there is a loss of life, or if there is some sort of serious crime in the riot, then the punishment goes up to 10 years also under this particular law. So there are many sections or laws which are available under which Trump can be charged going forward. But the big question in front of us is that, can he be charged while he is a president? Now, if we talk about the Indian scenario, we all know that the Indian president and even the governors of the states, they have complete immunity from any sort of criminal act which is done by them during their office, right? We all know these things. Is it the same for US presidents also? We have to answer that in our first question. And the second question is, after January 20th, Trump will no more be the president of the United States. Now, would it be easier for the attorneys to charge Trump when he is no longer the president? There are two questions. Let's try to answer them one by one to understand the legality here. The first question is pretty simple. Can Trump be charged when he's a president? The answer is clearly no, very similar to India. But remember, there's a difference between India and United States. Now, in India, it is clearly mentioned in the Constitution that the president cannot be charged while he is in office, even if he or she commits a crime. Clear? But there is nothing of that sort mentioned in the US Constitution, that a sitting president cannot be prosecuted. They are not immune from prosecution according to the Constitution. But the legal precedents have been such that no president has been charged while they are in office. And this precedent has been set up by the Justice Department in the United States, which has taken a position that the presidents cannot be charged while they are in office. So Donald Trump cannot be charged under those acts, whichever I mentioned, while he is in office. And there are many evidences. We have seen so many instances where the Justice Department has taken a stand. For example, against Richard Nixon during the Watergate scandal, the Justice Department, they did not pursue any charges because the incumbent president cannot be charged. That was the belief system. The same thing happened during the Bill Clinton administration also. So a clear-cut precedent has been set by the Justice Department, but not by the Constitution. So to answer our first question, can Trump be charged while he is president? The answer would be no. Now the next question, would it be easy for the US attorneys to charge Trump when he is no longer the president? Now the answer to this might seem like yes, but it is actually no. Because if you look at the US legal system, there is a big hassle in proving these charges. Although there are so many video evidences, footages, etc. But despite all that, there is a lot of legal tangle in the United States. The first reason is the First Amendment of US Constitution. Now, we all know that US Constitution very ardently protects the freedom of speech and expression of individuals. And whatever Trump said during this speech, it comes under the freedom of speech and expression. And in general, it becomes very tough. If you ask legal experts, they will tell you that it is very tough to prosecute here. Why? Just speaking recklessly isn't enough to charge here, right? So there have been so many instances where there have been different speeches. If you look at social movements, there have been so many leaders who have given speeches recklessly and they were not able to be charged under any of these rioting laws, etc. Now, the same might apply to Trump also. So legally, it becomes very tough. Now, the second perspective is that, was Trump alone when he gave the speech? Is it just Trump who incited this violence? Now, it becomes very tough to prove. Was it Trump or was it someone else? Now, if you look at the speech, the big hassle is that what about the other speakers? There were so many other speakers. For example, there was a representative from Alabama who said that today is the day when American patriots start taking down names and kick ass. Now, this clearly incites some sort of violence. If the angry mob looks at this particular speech and sees these words that list out the names, say probably of Democrats, and kick their ass, right? Apart from that, Trump's personal lawyer, Rudolph Giuliani, he gave a very inciting statement. Now, he used the term, let's have a trial by combat. Now, this was the ancient way of dealing with issues, right? To get basically justice. Let's have a trial by combat. Now, I've put here a famous picture from one of the television series, Game of Thrones, where the trial by combat was very famous. Now, does this term or the speech given by Rudolph Giuliani, does it not incite violence? Now, the question in front of the experts here is, was it just Trump that incited or these people? Now, who would be charged? So it would be very, very tough for the attorneys, for the legal experts to charge Trump under this particular clause. Now, what is the solution then? What are the other options then? The next question is, can Trump be barred from future office? Can he be barred from holding any office in future, contesting US presidential elections? We all know that Trump has already suggested that he might contest the 2024 elections, although he has said that I am not going to concede. But he has already given indications in 2024 there is a possibility. Can he be barred from holding future office? The answer is obviously yes. The option 1 has been discussed in our previous videos. I told you how he can be barred from the office. Now, if there is an impeachment by the House of Representatives, and after this impeachment, the motion will move to the Senate, where there would be a trial. And if the Senate passes the resolution by 2/3 majority, he would be dismissed or he would be removed from presidency, which is highly unlikely because very, very short time is left till January 20th, isn't it? But there is another option. If the Senate passes the resolution by a simple majority, Trump would be barred from holding any office in future. There are precedents where before judges have been debarred like this, and there is a possibility that Trump might also be debarred from holding office in future. But apart from this congressional process, there is one more process which is available, option 2. Now, if he was to be convicted in a court, not for simply inciting riots, but for insurrection. Now, insurrection means a violent uprising is called against the federal government. Now, if the legal experts, the attorneys are able to charge Trump under insurrection. Now, insurrection comes under United States Code section 182383, where it makes a felony to incite an insurrection, that is to call for a violent uprising against the federal government. And if Trump is convicted, he would be fined or imprisoned for not up to 10 years, not more than up to 10 years. And he will also be debarred from holding any office. He will become incapable of holding any office under the United States. But again, proving these insurrection charges will also be tough because of the legal hassle that we spoke. But nonetheless, there are two options available now in front of the congressional Democrats that they can pursue. One is the congressional process, which we spoke about. The other one is the judicial method, where Trump can be charged under US Code section 182383. Now, it is going to be very, very interesting development in the upcoming weeks, because there is a lot of traction towards this particular development, that US Democrats are now going to pursue either judicial charges or the congressional charges or congressional process for his impeachment and for his removal, or probably to ensure that he doesn't hold the office again going in future. If any development comes over this, we will bring it to you as soon as possible on StudyIQ. That's it from my side on this part of discussion. Thank you for watching. Please stay safe during the pandemic.